Good morning. My name is Christina Espada. I know most of you know me. I go to church here with my three kids, Alexis, Maya, and Pedro. I'm at work today, so that's why we're recording this now for you. Let's see. So my story is I have four siblings. I'm the eldest of four with my mother, the the second eldest of four of my mother. Then I'm the eldest of my dad's kids. My dad has two, one boy is my baby brother, and then me. And then my mom has my sister, April, who you've never met, me, Michael, I don't think anyone's met him, and then Danielle, which some of you have. I don't know which ones, but I know some of you have met Danielle, and she's delightful. Let's see. I was born January of 78. I was a whole month early. I was supposed to be a Valentine's Day baby, but I was so excited to come that I made my mom miss her holiday pay for Martin Luther King Day. Sorry. So, yeah. My parents were married, I think, less than a year when they had me. It wasn't working out very well. He was very abusive to my mother. I don't remember life with him. I just know that he was around. I didn't know him very well. I just know that he was there with my stepmom and my aunt and uncle because my mom made it happen so that way he could come see me. I got the impression from him that he did not like me at all. I think he didn't love me at all. The reason I think that is because whenever I come over, he doesn't take me anywhere. He never, well, I know now that he did when I was little only because he couldn't leave me at home alone. So that's how he met my stepmom, was he had me with him when he went to the, some kind of orthopedic doctor, I think it was. I don't know. He hurt himself after he hit my mother in the face, and he hurt his foot or something. I don't remember what it was. But anyway, he was there with her, and she goes, "Oh, that's a pretty little blonde girl." He's like, "Yeah, it's my daughter." And so, like, she fell in love with me. Who wouldn't? Okay, so then after my parents divorced, and I think I was like in fifth grade. I don't know. I think I was 5. That's where the 5 is. It's 5, and I think we moved to Tamarack Road in Edmore because I remember the trailer that we were living in, and that's when my dad and stepmom and my aunt and uncle would come visit us at Christmas time. Then mom met this guy, and he was pretty great. He had a 57 Chevy. It was awesome. He would go really fast. And we'd go, "Hey, can you like go a little bit slower?" Like, and he'd go faster when we asked to go slower. And then he'd go slow when we asked him to go faster. He enjoyed us being around only because he had $3 of his own because he was in the Navy, and his daughters was in New Zealand. So he missed them. And then, so he met mom and got her, they started a relationship, and then he asked her to marry him. So then they had Michael. And then I'm missing Donnie in this whole thing. So my dad and stepmom had my brother Donnie when I was 7. So I became a big sister for the first time. And I was like, "Ooh, that's pretty exciting." And he was a cutie. And then I was noticing my dad was around more for him than he was for me. Like, I kind of became a little jealous. Who wouldn't? And then, so mom and Mike had Michael. And then less than a year later, Mom got pregnant again with Danielle. It was a big secret, and you shouldn't have tell an 8-year-old to not tell anybody they're pregnant. Because then you want to know a secret? BABY, don't tell grandma. And everyone's like, what's this? And Mom's like, Christina, you don't tell people that. So yeah. Then we were pregnant with Danielle, and then that's when she came into the picture. Oh, she was a big girl. Then we moved to Langston, which is where in the Lakeview school system, and that's when I became a Lakeview Wildcat was then. Mm-hmm. So about 10 after, so Michael and Danielle were born like in 86, 87. So I'm like 10 when the abuse starts with my stepdad. And I don't know what to think. I didn't know what to do. He just said that, that's what dads do. And not tell Mom, because that's not what we're supposed to do. We're not supposed to tell Mom. And we'll play a game later. We'll play Monopoly. Or I can't even remember what game it was. A lot of my memories are really jumbled because of all that. I didn't know that he was abusing my mother either. I just knew about me. I mean, I know he hit her. I just thought that was normal because I saw my dad do it to my stepmom. So I figured that's how you acted in a marriage. I thought hitting was normal. 8th grade, I think. I can't remember. Mom's trying to bring me out of my bubble because she's not the same kid. She doesn't understand what's going on. She doesn't know anything. She just knows that I'm not the same Christina that she's known. So she's trying to bring me out, and after we move, I'm noticing my stepdad's not living with us. And I think, this is it. This is the time to tell her, this is what I should do. And I feel that nudge, and I didn't realize what the nudge was. And I think it was God telling me to tell her that he was doing. So I tell her, and she doesn't yell at me. She doesn't tell me that I'm wrong, that I'm stupid, that this was happening to me. She actually believed me. And I was like, oh, thank goodness. She believed me, because I was so afraid that she wasn't going to believe me. And so she brings me to a therapist, and I tell the therapist what happened. And I was like, you're not going to tell anybody, right? He could have had to, because you're supposed to tell somebody, because that's what you're supposed to do. So tell the therapist, and he tells the cops, and the cops come, and I don't know if they arrest him or what happened, but they did make sure that they tell him that he's not allowed to see me. And I have to go in front of the judge and tell him what he did. So I tell the judge, and the judge is like, well, we're going to keep the family together, and you have to just go there. You can't, you have to stay there with him too. You can't, we have to protect your sister, so she has to have protection. So you're going to stay there too. So your mom, you'll live with your mom, but then when they go to hit their dad, you have to go. And I'm like, that's not protecting me. I don't understand. And I think so. Then graduate high school, In 97, I got my nursing license. My certificate was for to be a CNA. So now I'm working as a CNA, and I moved to Howell with my mom because that's where she got her to go to work at for Tower because they moved to Brighton. And then mom wanted me to get away from Howell area, so we moved to Florida. And I moved to Florida, and that's when I met the kids' dad. Yeah. And then had 3 kids, and then we got married. Well, got married and then had the 3 kids. And then he was emotionally abusive, and I would always ask, I tried to go to church, and I never had money because he wouldn't let me work because my money would only go to daycare. And he didn't understand that. He wanted me to be home because he didn't want me to do anything. So I was always at home, not working. And he would, make me feel like there was no other way to live. But he's like, no one wants you. You have a kid. No one's going to want you. And then I'd ask God, I'd be like, how can I get out of this? How can I can't live like this. And I would say, do you want me to stay? And I would somehow, I know how, but I ended up pregnant every time I asked this question. Because, you're like, what do I do, God? You're staying in this relationship, so stay some more. Had Maya, and then he was like, I'm never going to do that again. I promise I will be a good husband. And he did it again. He would become abusive again. And this time I was pregnant. I asked God again. I was like, what do you want me to do? And I became pregnant. Well, yeah, I became pregnant with Pedro. I was like, all right, so we're going to have this. Okay, baby. All right, great. I'm going to stick through it. All right, it'll be great. And then, I don't even know, it was 6 months along. He didn't like something that I said, and he threw me up against the wall. And I was like, that's it. I don't care. We're done. I was like, we're going to have this baby. All right. So I muddled through a little bit longer, had Pedro, the 6th. And I was like, okay, Mom. Call her up. I'm like, we're done. We're ready. I'm ready. She's like, okay. So we started making a plan for me to leave. And he left us right before October, because we were leaving in October. That's when I was planning on leaving, was then. And then he left us before I could do it because he didn't like that I had the money. And he didn't want me to have the money because I was trying to save up just so I could get away. And he didn't like that. So I was like, okay, fine, bye. I wasn't, gonna cry over it. And then I tried to stay down there, but it was too expensive for me to live by myself and raise the 3 kids. So I moved home, and then I got my CNA license back again. So now I'm working as a CNA. And then Mom helped me get my house. Thank goodness. And everyone helped me out with figuring out how to get the kids to church because we found our great church home around that time when I first came back. I think it was a little bit, I can't even remember. We've been here a long time, almost over 10 years. So yeah, it was about, yeah. So we've been here as long as we've been up here. And now my kids are almost grown. Alexis, y'all watched grow up. And then we figured out why she was so non-vocal and non-verbal. So the school system up here cared more than the school system down there. Because they would never figure it out. They're like, we don't have the resources to figure out what's wrong with your child. And then when we got up here, the principal was like, we're going to figure this out together. And we did testing and we figured out she was one of the smartest girls. it's just how she learned, and now now she's graduated and she's got her certificate to her cooking. She loves to cook. Who knew? But I didn't know that she liked to cook until she started wanting to do it. And then you got Maya, and she was doing so much her freshman year, and God's like, here, we're gonna give this little disorder to you too. So now she's got conversion disorder, FND, which a lot of you helped us figure a way to figure out how what she had, and now she's on her road to figuring out where she is with God and her journey.
Can you talk more about that for the people who don't know you as well? What is the conversion disorder?
It's where you're doing so much and your brain is like, we need to slow it down a little bit. So we're just going to make your body do something like it doesn't want to do. Like it's just going to keep your arm or, keep your hand closed. Maya's hands never, like it opens a little bit, but if you watch her, she shakes it a lot and it's hard to open and hard to close, and it just likes to stay put. And she forced it because it was going like this, and then so she forced it to be straight. And then right before we had her surgery to make it to where she could bend it again, the doctor put her under, and then they pumped her full of muscle relaxers, and they got to her arm to move. The doctor wasn't even going to do that. She was going to cut her tendon so that way it could move again. And then she goes, there's no way to explain this, but it was like God told me to do it. He's like, just put her with that and then move her arm. And she's like, that's never happened before. And
so her arm was immobilized, and then they were thinking that it was stuck that way, and they were going to cut a tendon to try to loosen it.
Yeah.
But the muscles just needed to be relaxed, and she needed to be asleep.
Yeah.
And then they could move the arm.
Yeah. And then Pedro. Oh, that Pedro. He's something. But I love that boy. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we just had done with class today, so it was pretty good. It was a pretty good day.
And what are you doing with classes?
I'm taking some required classes to get my RN, my BSN RN at MCC.
Congratulations.
And thank you. I'm so excited. And Pedro's going to get his associate's degree for teaching. So hopefully he can do that.
So I would imagine that there are a lot of times in your life that you thought, like, everything I'm doing is not good enough.
I did. I thought I was never going to get the kids through what I got them through. Like, I was just hoping I never had the kids to tell me what I went through, that they were going through. Mm-hmm. I tried so hard to keep their world as small as possible so that way I never had to be the one to find out that my child went through the same thing I went through, because I didn't want that for them. I wanted them to be, safe and know that they wouldn't ever have to worry about going through the court systems like that.
You're a good mom.
Thank you.
In so many ways.
Thank you.
You've had a lot of layers of hard stuff in your life, really. You are a survivor on a lot of different ways, or in a lot of different ways.
Yeah. People talk about domestic violence, and it's like, like if you are hit, like I can tell you what I was wearing that day when I was thrown against that wall or I was pushed against it. Like I know, and just the littlest things like that. Like you can just.
I think you meaning people who have gone through that are the ones to say that that is not the fault of the person who it's happening to. And
Yeah.
that's sometimes even like when you were a younger child, you thought you were going to do the wrong thing by saying it out loud, by telling anyone. But,
Yeah.
but you can now say, if that's happening to you, say
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
It's not your fault.
And if you have somebody that's happened to you, if you've been there, and you need to talk about it, finds that trusted person, or somebody will believe you. The schools, like hopefully the schools,
Mm-hmm.
hopefully.
But it's a brave thing to say out loud that has happened to you. You've done a lot of brave things. Again, you raised up these 3 children. That's amazing.
Yeah,
Not that it's amazing that you did it, but like that is not easy.
it's not.
And you've done a lot of that alone. But you also knew what your limitations were.
Yeah, I'm just grateful that my mom was there to help me out, and everybody that helped, with the kids. Like, that was just tremendous, helpful, and I don't know what I would do without you guys.
Just cool to see how you guys have been able to come back from some pretty hard stuff. And that's just a great testimony. For you, it was, I'm sure, like every moment was a different moment. And how are we going to get through this? But when you can look back and see.
Yeah.
What do you see for your future?
I see me finishing the program and being a registered nurse. And I'm hoping I can get into Michigan. That's where I want to go, is Michigan. But if I can't get there, then maybe Ferris.
What would that be for?
To get my MSN.
Oh, okay.
Because I think I can finish my BSN at MCC. I'm not sure.
You get a master's. That's what the M stands for.
I think
Master's in nursing.
I think so.
Wow.
And
That's exciting. I would imagine when you were at home with your little baby, Alexis, you never had any of that in mind.
oh no, I was like, I really don't want to be in the nursing at all.
Or how will I ever get from where I am to where that might take me?
Yeah.
What are you saying to your kids?
What
What are some life lessons that you want to have your kids know?
No matter what you do, I will always love you, and I'm always here for you, even if you do something bad. You can't do it. There's nothing you can do that will make me not love you any more than I already do. And I was like, and if somebody hurts you, if someone hurts you, then you need to tell me so that way I can figure it out and how to take care of that problem.
Do you find it easy to talk to them about like how to have a relationship? Like, what is a healthy relationship? Do you feel like you are at that place where you can talk to them like that?
I try and tell them I don't know how to have a healthy relationship. I don't think I know how right now. Like, I don't think that's probably why God brought me into anybody else yet, because I don't know how to do it. I don't know how to have that good relationship. I mean, well, our relationship with the kids is pretty good, but if you bring another person into that dynamic, I don't know how to do that yet. Mm-hmm. It's like a process. Like, how do you act? How do you treat people? Like, I know hitting's not right.
Well, like you said before, that was what was shown to you, and so how would you have known anything different?
Yeah.
And I think that's important. The people who undergo violence, sometimes that's all they know, and so they don't know that there's an option that they can find a different way. So you've stopped that cycle with you, and now your kids have a chance to not have that happen.
Yeah.
I think, like I said, I think you've stopped that cycle right here, which that's a hard thing to do.
Yeah.
You have a lot of things that you need to say to yourself. I did this, and it was really hard, and I still did it. And how did I do that?
With God's help.
Yeah. What would you like for your kids?
To be healthy and happy in a good relationship, and not to hide from it. Like, if you're in a good relationship, then admit it and show the world your brightness.
Oh, that's cool. Is there anything that you wanted to say about your mom or anything that in that relationship with your mom?
My mom is amazing. I love her so much. She's such a strong person to have to be in a relationship with two guys that beat her up. And my dad knocked out her two front teeth. My stepdad was not a very nice person. And then, so I thought she had found a really good guy when she met Tom, and then he turned out to not be a good person. But she's strong. She's really strong. I love her so much. So I just hope you guys, this is really hard to sit up here. But I just hope the kids know that no matter what happens to you, God will always be there for you. Even if you think that you've totally ruined yourself, God doesn't think that. He loves you so much.